What does chingona mean to me? I grew up with the term chingona being kind of like a bad word.
It was not acceptable, and if you asked my mother to do an interview on what it means to be chingona, she would say that's inappropriate, and I'm not saying that word, and I would never go on video saying that.
I was excited about being asked to do this documentary. When I told my mother, she said, what? Don't waste your time with that. So I didn't even say the word, I actually texted it to her. We started talking about how Latina women have changed throughout the years. And I told her, I said I felt that it was important for me to also speak out and give my story about how coming from her to me, now to my children, it's going to change. People still think, oh, you're a woman, what do you do for the fire department? And it's funny because they say, well, I'm a firefighter. I'm out on a truck. I actually drive a truck. I drive one of the biggest trucks in the Austin Fire Department. Chingona to me means, well, when I first heard of it, the first word that popped up in my head is badass. But I think now, knowing a little bit more about my culture and knowing about myself, it's more of who I chose to be. My path. My mother cut a very clear path, and I chose to cut one right next to hers. So it's, I think, someone able to pick and choose and have the fortitude to continue on their own path.
When you were told that you were a chingona, at least in my family, you were doing something bad, you were being scolded, you were dirty, right? There was a ton of negative connotation to this word. And so I love the idea of reclaiming this name and putting positive energy into it and giving Latinas a space to say, no, you guys don't get to tell this story, we do.
One word that defines chingona is someone that doesn't take any bullshit.
What chingona means to me is really a badass woman who is very confident, passionate, and very much prideful in what she does for the community that surrounds her.
For me, it means being relentless in what you want to do in life, being relentless in your goals and your dreams, and getting things done. You know, having that drive to do whatever you set your mind out to do. You know, you want to do your best, but I think ultimately, chingona means being relentless.
Chingona, you know, she expresses herself without apology. And this is not easy to do. I think traditionally, I think women, Latinas, it's like you're taught to be not even just diplomatic, but also to just let others steer or to submit to maybe what the common agreement is. Whereas it gets us an opportunity to break out of that.
Well, I haven't yet accepted that I'm a chingona, but others have said that I am. Therefore, I'm learning to identify with that label. Being a Latina and also being a lesbian in Texas means that I've had to stand up for groups and causes and issues that are generally divisive social issues. If chingona is a sign of, or a term of respect, then my view is that if I am respected, it's because I've given respect to. So I'll accept that banner, that label.
I think chingona is kind of a byproduct of being courageous. I think for me, I've never gone into a situation where I need to feel powerful or brave thinking I'm a chingona. I've gone into it thinking this is something that matters to me. This is something that I'm passionate about. And I think that's something that Latinas are kind of born with. So I think in a lot of ways we are naturally chingona, not meaning to be.
To me, being a chingona is the ability to walk into a room and say what you need to say and do what you need to do. And when you leave that room, everyone there knows This woman is here for the business. She is not here to play. It's very normal to walk into a meeting as a booking agent or a talent buyer or a publicist and be not only the only woman, but also the only minority woman there. So, you know, just know that it's all about keeping the mental game strong and letting people know that, you know, I can do everything that you do. It doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't matter how young I am. It doesn't matter. The experience adds up at the end of the day. It's all the same.
I think that chingona means to me like really taking the risk to live the life that you are meant to live. So I was a teen mom. I raised my kids. I worked full time. I had 2 jobs, went to school in Massachusetts, and about 8 years ago I moved to Texas. And I had a really hard time finding a job, and I was starting to make jewelry, and I wanted to travel. So I started selling jewelry in the bars of nightclubs when I would go out, kind of like open up your jacket and like, hey girl, I think I got some earrings for you style, you know? And I kind of was like a hustler in that particular way with my art form. So I come from a place where I know what it means to hustle and have to provide for your family. I do kind of what inspires my heart, right? That's the avenue that I choose to go, and I do that in terms of my creative and cultural spaces in Austin as well. I make spaces in Austin that support women of color and also other people, marginalized communities, because I think that that's a really important stance to take in terms of fighting gentrification and keeping our communities authentic.
I grew up with the term chingona being kind of like a bad word, but the older I got, the more I realized that chingona means being a badass woman. I think that Sandra Cisneros said it best when she said, being a chingona is when you're saying, I am going to pave my way and I'm gonna walk my camino, I'm gonna walk my path. My mom raised my sister and I, and we grew up very poor. We spent months where we weren't sure if the lights were gonna be on or if something would be turned off in regards to utilities. And that was the norm for me growing up. And so the thought of college or even attaining any type of academic education outside of high school just seemed so far. But my mom was always telling me, Mija, you need to get an education. You need to go to college. And that's what inspired me to become a lawyer. And I ended up being the first person in my family to go to college, which makes me the first lawyer in my family. And now I see my sister went off to college and she graduated, and my little cousins are going to college. And I feel very blessed that I get to be a part of that experience of being the first in my family, but I hope to continue that academic growth in my family of going to college, attaining an education, or, you know, just becoming successful outside of what is the norm.
Okay, first of all, I have to say that chingon is very derogatory, could be. It is the way it's used by masculinist societies. Because, as you know, chingar means screw. So, and when you're insulted by chinga tu madre, that is the worst. I mean, that is like, the equivalent in English, screw your mother. And in the colonial period, and post-colonial period, and in the modernist masculinist movement, Mexicans have been called, hijos de la chingada. And that means the children of the poor mother that was raped and violated. So if you can imagine, the word is extremely, extremely loaded. But it's a word we have rescued, we have turned words around and used them in ways that I think feminists understand. Chingona, we have said, okay, it happened. We're not denying that it happened. It happened because wars happen, because people are conquered, and because women are raped and violated, as our women were. But this does not make our progeny hijos de la chingada. It gives us a new race to be proud of. You know, it gives us a race of people that were not conquered forever. There is a Mexican Republic, and there is a Mexican Republic within the U.S., and the people live and survive and thrive, and they're strong, and they uphold their values, and we take power into our hands, and we say, yes, and we're not that forever, and we haven't been that forever, and we're not gonna be that in the future. You know, we're gonna take that act, we're gonna take our people, and we're gonna overcome. And so a chingona is a woman that accepts, you know, the vulnerabilities that we've had to overcome, and they turn them around, and they make themselves strong, and they make sure it doesn't happen ever again to another woman, and they become chingonas, you know, because they will say, okay, sí lo fui, ¿y qué? Ahora no lo soy, y de hoy en adelante, menos. And I'm gonna do the best I can so that no woman, you know, no man, no community has to suffer the devastation that I had to suffer. So a chingona is a warrior that stands on those ashes and over that rape and overcomes it all and says, you know, I'm gonna protest forever, and I'm gonna make sure that things do change for women. So as long as there are chingonas, there is a strong community.
I would like to declare, you know, and declare my gratitude once that this is an opportunity to create that space for chingonas to thrive.
There's plenty of us that have helped forge the way and those before us, and we were happy to share those moments and that advice to help get you to that next level. So ask questions, reach out for help, and be confident.
Be a role model. Really inspire people to want you to mentor them, but also get mentor from others.
Regardless of what kind of Latina you are, whether you're from Mexico or you're from Spain or wherever you're from, regardless of, you know, your life situations and how you grew up, I think we all need to rally around what we're faced with right now and join forces and stand strong as a united front.
My gosh, all I can say is I have never, in any of the generations that I've worked with over the past 50 years, seen one in Austin like today. The generation of women, you know, young women getting out there. I just get dizzy, you know, with the excitement of it all. I have never seen so much skill, so much energy, so much intelligence, so much effort that our young women, you know, have going for ourselves here in Austin. So I think that's the thing that just makes me so happy.